Good morning, adventurers. My name is Ben, and welcome to a morning show where I sit around, drink some tea, and talk about D&D. First up for T&D today, we have this Grand, Gloomy, and Peculiar Mammoth Cave mug from Mammoth Cave National Park. My fiance got it when she went there. It's a lovely little mug. I really like the texture on the outside of it. It's one of the only mugs that we have that isn't like shiny and feels like a mug, so it's actually kind of nice. Inside of it, I have some cinnamon apple spice tea, which I think at one point I described as, isn't that just apple cider with less steps or but worse? And I stand by that because it's not loaded up with sugar, but it still is pretty good. So anyway, moving on from what we have for T&D today, first off, Great sweatshirt. My good friend Jenny runs the Tabletop Tavern, and this is a sweatshirt from their most recent campaign. Definitely go check their stuff out look up the Tabletop Tavern. They actually play today, so check them out when we get to that. But today is a very special day. Today, this, 28th of March, 2022, is the 100th episode of Good Morning Adventurers. Yay, all around. Something like that. And so I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you to everybody who has, tuned in and watched this show, particularly if, you're somebody who actually keeps coming back. If this is the first time you're seeing this show ever, well, thanks for stopping by and seeing what I talk about every single weekday. It's been so much fun. And I have adored getting to do this show. So thank you so very much. I had grand plans at one point to come up with something spectacular for the 100th episode, but I have been working so much recently that I just haven't had time to do that, which means that we're gonna keep it a little bit smaller instead then. And we're not gonna do anything over the top or crazy, but we're gonna talk about D&D a little bit. D&D more on like a meta scale sort of thing here. We're gonna talk about what D&D means to me, I guess. I don't know, something like that. I have a vague idea in my head. I haven't written anything down, which means that this could be a total disaster, and I do apologize for that if that is what is about to happen. But I wanted to do something that really sort of highlights the reason for the season, if you will, the whole root behind this whole thing. And talk about D&D as a game, just as a game. Really TTRPGs as a whole, but D&D specifically because this is, in fact, a D&D show. So let's talk a little bit, shall we? I'm a newer player to the game. Newer is relative. It has been quite some time at this point, but I am not a seasoned vet or anything like that. I started playing the game about 5.5 years ago now, something like that. And I was hooked immediately, obviously. And it has just been the most bizarre, insane sort of roller coaster ride that I could have expected. It has changed my life in a lot of different ways. It is something that I obviously have come to love and spend a lot of time talking about doing. It actually all it was rooted in me as a first grader finding D&D books at one of my friend's houses and asking him about it, and him saying that his dad does this, and we got to see his workshop where he paints minis and stuff like that. But it sort of fell by the wayside then until college, when we did a play called She Kills Monsters. Fantastic play, definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it or read it. It's about D&D, it's about reconnecting with people through D&D, and it made me want to play the game. And then my roommate was like, hey, do you want to play the game? And I went, yeah, I'll do that. And then I sat down ahead of the first session we had, and I read the entire Player's Handbook cover to cover, and I knew that I was in trouble from there. And so it's been a wild 5.5 years. I went from not knowing anything about it really to it being something that is constantly on my mind. The majority of the clothing that I own is somehow D&D themed. I'm pretty sure that the shirt under this sweatshirt is actually even a Critical Role shirt. Yep, sure is. Don't forget to love each other. But It has been a wild turn of events, to say the least. Now, to get into what the game actually sort of is, what it means, that sort of thing. Obviously, we know what D&D is. If you don't know what D&D is, it is a tabletop role-playing game focused on rolling some dice and telling a story with people that you care a lot about. That's really kind of all of it. That's what the game is. And it's a blast. It's a blast to get to play. And so I highly recommend you try it out if you haven't tried it out and you're trying to figure out what the deal is by watching this video or listening to this episode of the podcast. But D&D has been such an integral part of my life over the last 5.5 years that I thought I would attempt to share that in some small capacity here. It is... there are jokes online all the time about how D&D is essentially just therapy with dice and their friends, which you should definitely see a professional about stuff because you don't need to put everything on your friends. But they're right in that it does have a serious form of catharsis that goes with it that you simply cannot find pretty much anywhere else. It comes from playing a role of sorts in an entirely safe place that allows you to explore things that you wouldn't normally explore as just your average everyday human being. And so that's an awesome kind of feeling to get to do. Plus, it helps you connect with the people around you in a way that is just unlike anything else. I have made friends, particularly in the last 2 years when I've been doing this whole internet thing, this content thing, which is weird to think that we're about 1.5 years into all of that now, properly 1.5 years into all of that. But I've made friends via the game, via the different things that I've made and stuff like that. I've played one D&D game with them, and they are people that I talk to every single day now. And it's such a strange feeling because I have not met these people in person. We've spent a handful of hours together pretending to be other people, but now we're like best friends because it opens that sort of emotional vulnerability part of your body, and then it's just oh well, there you go, new best friend for life right there. And so the people that you get to meet through playing the game are some of the best parts of the game. I talked about it at the beginning, this sweatshirt for Alis University from the Tabletop Tavern. Jenny played my sister in a D&D game, and she is, for all intents and purposes in my brain, more or less my actual sister. I don't have an actual sister, more or less my actual sister. And same goes for everybody else that was at the table. I just don't have merch for all of them to put on my body. And so D&D has been something that really has just sort of opened a lot of doors in a weird way. It has been something consistently that I've been able to connect with people over. I taught for several years, and one of the best ways to get through to some of my students was to be like, hey, you ever rolled some dice? And when they go, yeah, then you go, hey, me too. By the way, I know everything about this game is really kind of scary. They go, oh, okay. And then we talk about it for a while, and they feel a lot more comfortable and everything like that. The human aspect of it is something that you just simply can't get pretty much anywhere else, including, video games, books, honestly, even theater sometimes, which is something I do a lot of. All of those things are phenomenal storytelling mechanisms, but the just sort of raw humanity that goes into playing D&D, assuming you're playing a role-play intensive game, which is pretty much everything that I've played, it gets you on the inside. And sort of in conjunction with that, I do want to take a second here to recognize the people, I guess, that really sort of that make it happen, essentially. The people that make it happen. The DMs of the world, not Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast, I appreciate that they are publishing the game and constantly expanding it, but they get a lot of recognition for stuff anyway. But the DMs of the world that make it happen, particularly the DMs that I've had. I've had, let's see, 3 total, I think, of my college friends who have DM'd for me. They were some of my first, or my absolute first, and I love them with everything that I've got, I did before we played D&D together, but like they introduced me to the game and they helped me refine the game, and I love them for it. All of my players that I have been able to DM for, I have put so much time and energy into creating the game and making the game happen, and they take it and they run with it and they make it so much better than I could on my own, which is amazing. My friends that I've made online here, Brooke at Brooklyn Tuesday, Millsy at Ameliasam, Jenny at Just Jenny TV in particular, are three people that I have had run for me or have gotten to experience running games in one way or another, and they are all, I think, so much better than I could ever be. They will probably disagree because we all have the same problem, as most DMs seem to have. And then it just, the amount of time and effort it takes to create and run a D&D game, if you've done it, you know, and if you haven't done it, thank your DM, because it takes a lot, but also it's a thing that we really like to do most of the time. And then, of course, all of the players that I have ever had, all the players I've ever played with, that means everybody that I've taught the game to, everybody that has decided they want to occupy the same table as me, anybody in those circles, honestly, has meant so much in this insanity that has been, in particular, the last year and a half, but the last 5.5 years, where this game has been introduced to me and then changed my life for the better. Mac, how could I forget Mac? Mac is one of my DMs right now. We've been playing for not very long yet together, but he has been so amazing to get to play with. I cannot believe that I didn't have him in there, at Mac the Bard, as well. Please check all of them out. Not the point. I feel like I'm just saying the same things over and over again here, and I don't really know what to do about that other than to just keep doing it, because I mean all of it, I guess. Like, D&D is a huge time and monetary investment if you do it the way that I've done it, but I don't regret doing it that way at all. And in fact, I am so glad that I have done it that way, because it has motivated me to, one, become a better DM, storyteller, etc., and two, it's motivated me to do stuff like this. And I love doing this show. This show is so much fun for me. And I hope that it's so much fun for all of you guys who are watching. This episode doesn't make any sense. And I know that. I recognize that. I don't know what I'm doing right now. It doesn't make any sense. But it's been a lot of fun to just get to sit down and talk. Like, actually talk, instead of, like, go through a topic for a second here, because it means a lot to me that people are watching the show, that people are appreciating my content in any capacity. I was doing the show for like 2 people at one point. Now I do it for about 30 people every day, which in the grand scheme of, like, you know, people who are getting millions and millions of views or downloads or listens or whatever on the internet isn't pretty significant, but like that is growth of times 15 over the last 6 months of me being able to produce this show. So thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you so much for being part of this little community that I've sort of kind of tried to build here, because I really do appreciate it. Yeah, D&D is just, it's a great game. I love it. And I love all the people that I've gotten to meet, all the people that I get to help tell these stories with. And hopefully that is a sort of universal feeling when it comes to the game. But I have rambled on about that for long enough now. Let's talk about the shows that are happening today, because why wouldn't we? Spread the love. It's the 100th episode, baby. Hey. So today, Monday the 28th, as I mentioned, we have, in no particular order, The Paper Dungeon, Chromatic Dice, Beyond the Realms, Unprepared Casters, Greetings Adventurers, Bards of New York, Hapless Heroes, Ayun Adventurers, Cast Party, 3 Black Halflings, Hello from the Magic Tavern, King Leo D&D, Anti-Heroes Anonymous, and The Tabletop Tavern. Again, this sweatshirt is from The Tabletop Tavern. They are telling a great story right now. I'm a little bit behind. Work has been a lot. I haven't really had time to catch up, but I'm catching up as fast as I can here so that I can start watching live again. Because It's a really fun. It's a fun group. It's a fun story. If any of you guys are running or involved in any of these shows, and you have merch, let me know, because I will buy it and I will put it on my body and I will talk about it on this show. I am free real estate. In fact, I'm better than free real estate. I am real estate that will pay you to talk about you, essentially. So yeah, make sure you let me know if you have any like merch, because I will wear it. I promise you I will wear it. If it's a hat, I will make sure that I show it off, even though you will not be able to see whatever is on the front of it. Not the point. But with all that said, that is everything I had to talk to you guys about today. Thank you so much for making me part of your morning routine for 100 episodes now. I genuinely appreciate it so very much. I can't emphasize enough how much I do appreciate it. But thank you in particular to my patrons. You guys are the ones that have made this show possible for 100 episodes now. That's so many episodes, guys. That's so many. God, it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real. But if you guys are interested in becoming a patron and joining this whole thing, please check out the link in the description of this episode. And if you are one of my patrons, don't forget, voting for this last week's show poll is open currently on my Patreon. It will close on Wednesday when GMA gets posted. But that is everything I have to talk to you guys about, as I mentioned before. So don't you all forget, drink tea, play D&D, and keep on rolling.